men just are waiting for someone to go, bro, I need to bare my soul. When I see young males in pain, it fucking breaks my heart. The moment we get to a point where it's too much, we take that aggression and we turn it inwards. It's normal. You're a human being. This is what you do. Just get your shit together. You can beat yourself up too much. Choose a path.
We got the world in our palm, feeling like we are reborn. No longer shackled by fear. We getting back all the positive years. Blood, sweat, shed a lot of them tears. And we endure, we stopping it here.
Jon.
Trudy.
It's been a while, huh?
Yes.
It's been a wee while since the last time we sat down.
Yeah.
And something you said when we sat down and I interviewed you, something that you said has resonated and stuck with me ever since. You mentioned in that interview the lost generation of men.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard some similar phrases to that over and over and over and over again. And I want to come back and touch on that because I want to delve a little tiny bit deeper. The lost generation of men. This is something that you talked about being an issue in 2022, 23, the time that we're living in now, and now, of course, 2024. Explain what that is, the lost generation of men.
Well, I guess it's a reference to something I myself had experienced, for a long while. There was a point in my growing up where there was chaos in my adolescence, as you know. And then there was a point whereby I had to kind of figure a way out to become more mature. So I started experimenting with things like meditation and reading different kinds of philosophies. But it still was exceedingly complicated. And then fatherhood came along, and I'm not understanding exactly where I actually fit in the family and structure, what I'm supposed to do as a parent. I think, as nostalgic as perhaps as it sounds, and I'm sure my perception is being somehow marred by the cheekiness of nostalgia, or let's say the trickery of nostalgia. But I think it was simpler. There was a time when it was simpler. I'm not saying it was better, but I think the equation was less complex. And now, here we are,
Because you mentioned in that interview, and I'd recommend anybody go and watch it. It was a brilliant interview. You mentioned in the interview that back in the day and in generations before us, men went out to work and they even went to war.
Yeah.
And now, in our time today, men are being asked to be empathic. They're being asked to take more responsibility within the home and to have those roles. So their actual place in society has changed. Am I right?
Yes, correct. I think there's always been this kind of natural masculine proclivity towards things that required either physical exertion or aggression, or this innate tendency to protect and provide. And men have, historically gone to war. They've hunted. They've protected their family. They've taught their kids how to fight, and all of these things that were kind of very much in tune with what we required evolutionarily for such a long period. But now the society doesn't require us to, thankfully, to be this explicitly aggressive. So what do we do with the aggression? And that's a really important question, because what we're saying is that, now I don't know if this is a modern phenomenon, but for sure men suicide more, for example. Why? Because the moment we get to a point where it's too much, we take that aggression and we turn it inwards. Can there be safe spaces where we take out this aggression? The gym, I don't know, some sort of physical, some form of physical forum whereby it is not only accepted but it is rewarded, because it's not only that you do the exertion but also that you are rewarded. Society is telling you, good. Right now, men are finding themselves expressing themselves in a way, and society saying, oh, that's a bit misogynist, that's a bit sexist, and perhaps sometimes it is, but perhaps sometimes it's a moment of miscommunication whereby things need to be recalibrated, and men can achieve a footing of, what the fuck are we supposed to do,
But you said it yourself, recalibration.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at, because we as women are recalibrating. We're being asked also, and it's a phenomenon since the Second World War, that women work.
Yeah.
And women, their roles have changed in the home as well. And it's one of the things that I have set out to address, how women are changing. Women are now saying, why don't we talk about menopause? Why don't we talk about menstruation? Why don't we talk about these things? Why have they always been shamed? And why have they always been hidden away in a cupboard somewhere so we don't talk about it? Now, women are natural talkers. So if you invite someone to come and sit around a table and talk about it, women will do that, and it will start a conversation. But where do men go? Where do men go when their whole ground has been shaken?
Well, look, between us, I think there is far more communication nowadays. I think the culture is changing in intimate settings, right? It's not like, I'm going to walk into the gym, go, hey guys, what happened today? My wife said I'm useless. You want to talk about this? No, but you do find yourself, especially, I find that, let's say if we take the gym setting, it's like at points of exhaustion, you're like there, you're steaming, oh man, fucking shit day at work. I think there's nothing that I'm not understanding what I'm doing wrong. And I feel like the more time has gone by, the more time has elapsed, the more the males have adapted to this culture of beginning to open up. I think that message is becoming more prevalent, and I obviously that has a very positive progress. I think we spoke about it in our interview. There was Paddy Pimblett when he won his fight in the UFC, and his friend had hung himself the day before, and that's all he said after. It was a very moving moment. To see someone that is obviously such archetypically masculine to open up and make himself vulnerable, and he cried, and he put that message out there of men communicate, because there are men know how to care. We really know how to care. Like guys really. That's what I found. I found that. When you open up to another male, like I had a shit weekend, right? I had a really difficult week, and Saturday, the rest of the weekend was actually okay. But on Saturday, I sat down myself and Weza, who is a very masculine person, tattoos, big guy, and I was sitting down and getting ready to shoot El Kazin, and I turned to Weza and I said, "Bro, you mind if I fucking open up?" It's like, "Bro, you mind if I fucking open up?" And okay, here we go. I'm like, man, and it was like men just are waiting for someone to go, bro, I need to bare my soul, because it's noisy in here, and if it's going to get any noisier, I don't know what I'm going to do with this chaos. So I feel like men have obviously their mental difficulties. The culture is shifting towards men talking, and my personal experience, it has been that the moment I tell a person, would it be okay if I tell you something about myself right now? The answer is generally yes. And the second part to that conversation is generally, can I tell you something about myself? And it's beautiful.
Well, we've spoken about this before, and this is not a secret to you, but I have been asked so many times if we are going to do the he word. And the answer to that is, I'm not the right person to do the he word, but it does seem an opportunity for men to talk and to talk about a lot of things. I've had men asking me, what about, you've spoken about miscarriage. What happens in a family unit when our family experiences a miscarriage, for instance? The woman gets a huge amount of empath from her friends if she's lucky enough to have them.
Yeah.
But the men are kind of still at that point where they're told, get on with it. Is this something that we can do? Is there a...
Look, I'm certain there's still, so I mean the conversation has started, but it started. It's nowhere close to organizing itself in a way where we're getting positive outcomes. I mean, what we're getting is actually right now seemingly worse outcomes, right? At present, if you speak to the people at Richmond, for example, they will tell you the helpline has exploded.
Yeah, we're partnering with them, and that's exactly what they're saying. They're saying it's getting worse and worse and worse.
And the number one demographic that is requesting for their services are young males. So definitely, now, could this be because males are now being told, listen, ask for help? Possibly that's a factor. But definitely, there are many men asking for help. And there's many reasons. And as a person who had substance issues and ADHD and depression, and I've gone through so many phases trying to figure out, what I'm going to do with this psyche that just will not allow me to live in harmony. I'm obviously very keen. I'm obviously very moved. I've done, as you know, I've done lots of work in prison, for example, where I just see there's so much unnecessary pain that we can really begin to address if we're honest. And that's what I would love to do.
Let's do this, right?
Let's do this. 100. Looking forward to it, huh?
Me too.
Really, really keen.